Hi folks, so a few weeks ago I had some bad news. Another friend of mine had sadly taken their own life and committed suicide. So I just wanted to do a video about why does life seem to go wrong for so many people. Have you noticed this? And it seems to be getting more and more common as time goes on. I've probably had about 8 or 9 friends, in the course of my life. I'm 45 years old, that have taken their own lives, and it seems to be getting more and more frequent in the last 5 years or so. And I don't know what's causing it. I don't know if is it partly to do with the cost of living crisis. Is it because people are working harder and they just feel, what's the point? Do you think maybe social media plays a part, because we see other people all out having a good time and put other people in what looks like perfect relationships, and then you feel like you're missing out? And is that psychologically making you feel like you're inadequate? I don't know. It's probably a whole multitude of reasons, but I just think it's so sad, because if you think back to when you were a child, you believe you can be anything, you believe you can do anything. And I've got a friend, Nick Headhunter Chapman. He's a cage fighter, and he said the 3 hardest things you can do as a human is learn to walk, talk and read. Now, when we're children and we're learning to walk, we're taking our first steps, we don't care what other people think about us. We're not worried about looking stupid or people laughing at us or taking the mick out of us. And you've got to remember, by the time you're about 10 years old, the 3 hardest things you could have done, you've probably already mastered. But when we grow up and we get a bit older, it's like our dreams get crushed. We could, have not very supportive teachers at school. You could be in a group of toxic friends that don't want you to succeed, and they deliberately put doubt in your mind. You could have, family members that are unsupportive. And often, when we get to our 20s, there's a very famous saying, most people die at 25 but aren't buried until they're 70. We often end up in jobs we don't like. We end up in the wrong career. Some people end up in the wrong marriage. And, it's heartbreaking when, you think, to go from having all that potential as a child to then growing up and then, settling for so much less and not being as happy or confident in yourself. So whenever I felt suicidal myself when I was in my 20s. I was in a job I absolutely hated. I trained to be a chef, absolutely hated it. I didn't have a great deal of friends. I didn't have a great amount of confidence in myself. And it wasn't until I changed careers when I was 27, I got a job flying as cabin crew. It totally transformed my life. I made amazing friends. I've travelled the world. My life was actually a lot better after that. And I think every time you feel down, you have to think back to your inner child. Think back to when you were younger. Think back to when you were fearless, and just think, yes, I can do this. I can get through this. Learn not to listen too much to other people, because sometimes, the majority of people do want to see you fail and, don't want you to do well in life. And, I think, it's just horrible with what's going on in the world. Everyone just seems so unhappy and, just fed up with life. But I've never thought suicide is cowardly. I think, to kill yourself, you have to be quite brave. And there was another quote I read where it said, suicide isn't cowardly. What's cowardly is making someone feel so bad that they don't want to be alive. And I really agree with that. And, throughout life, you're going to get this. You're going to get people that, are bullies. You're going to get people that want you to fail. You're going to get people that, will try and make you feel bad about yourself, but you just got to rise above it. You just think, if they're having to do that to make themselves feel better, then automatically that already makes you a better person. So I just think it's, life is hard. It's probably the hardest, era we've probably lived in. I know obviously during war times things were hard, but I just think with the cost of living and everyone's working insane hours, and, marriages seem to collapse a lot easier nowadays. And, it is hard, but I just think you just have to think back to, you've got to remember, those 3 things, the 3 hardest things you could have done, you've done. And you just have to keep working on yourself, and just remember, bad situations do pass and they don't last forever. And, you've probably already been through a lot of crap in your life, but you just got to stay focused and keep moving forward and, just remain positive, because, better days will come, I promise you. So yeah, just keep moving forward.